I'm Mike Boris, and this is Straight Talk.
You should have killed me the first time. With all the disadvantages,
Yeah.
he should have stamped his mark. As soon as the Joey Spencer fight finished, I had this feeling that, I have to go back to that chapter one last time. He doesn't know what he's in for.
Tim, how you going, mate?
Good.
Haven't seen you for ages. Oh, actually, I saw you in March this year.
Yeah, just before the last one.
Yeah, we had a quick interview then.
Yeah,
and we spoke earlier, and that was obviously your first fight coming off the previous in 2024, which wasn't a great year for you, but you obviously brought yourself back to where you want to be. Soon, next month, you're going to be in the biggest boxing event of the year with 2 world title fights on one card. That's pretty amazing.
Well, they just announced the interim title as well for the other boys. So there's three titles.
Wow,
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And this, of course, is for all our listeners. This fight will be available to watch on Sunday the 20th of July, exclusively on Main Event via Kayo Sports. Subscription, now there's no subscription required to purchase the pay-per-view, and go for it. I'll be watching it. I unfortunately won't be able to go over there to MGM to watch Tim. I've always wanted, actually, that's one of the stadiums I've always wanted to go to. Like, that's some of the most famous fights in our history that have fought there. Pretty amazing. Are you excited about this? Oh,
yeah. Like, dreams are made of from these moments, So I'm fighting on the top of the world stage in they say the modern day what are they called? The Colosseum.
That is a Colosseum.
It's a big moment.
And people have been fighting there for a long time. Like, there's been some extraordinarily famous fights there. But then again, you're sitting here in our studio and you've probably just come in from Rockdale. Is that where you're still training? You're still training at Rockdale?
Still training there.
So, like, it's quite interesting. You can come from something very simple and humble, like Rockdale, where you train. And I guess you got the same training team that you've always had. I don't mean your sparring partners, but I mean your coaches.
Yeah.
Including family members. You're still probably managed by Gallen.
Yes.
And so nothing's really changed. You go from something really quite humble, then the next thing you're on the world stage.
Yeah.
How do you manage that crap? Like, I don't know. Does it fuck with your head a little bit, or do you just manage it?
At first it was sort of like a little bit of a shock, I guess. But the longer you're sort of in the position, you sort of embrace it now, and it's not as much of a shock anymore. I just enjoy it's honestly what I live for now. Just those thrills, those moments to be at that very top.
Is that because you're seeking the adrenaline rush, or you want to put yourself back to where you were?
No, it always reminds me of being a young kid. Like, as a young kid, I was dreaming about these moments. I used to get a little soccer ball and I used to punch it in the pool by myself when I was very, very young. And at the same time, I used to announce myself and think I was coming into MGM Grand, So now I'm actually living a childhood dream of mine and just have to enjoy the process.
How are you feeling, like, physically? You're no sort of injuries, or you're physically good?
Yeah, touch wood.
Yeah, you're good. You're in good shape.
I'm good.
It's only like, 3 weeks away, really, or it's just a little over 3 weeks.
Yeah,
just around the corner.
Yeah.
Let's just take me to where you would be at right now. So you got to make a certain weight, etc.
Yeah.
You don't really have that much trouble with weight,
to a certain extent.
Relative to other people, I guess is probably a better way of putting it. And but where are you? You're on course in terms of weight management.
Yeah.
Do you feel strong?
I feel like I'm in a different phase right now. Like, my weight's been better than usual. Usually it's a bit higher, so now it's a bit lower, which is good.
What do you put that down to?
Discipline. Sometimes you have those mid weeks and you eat a bit more than you should. And more about, like, scientific base for me, So it's been really, really strict by the core. So everything's going according to plan.
And does it have anything to do with your sort of home life, your family life, personal life?
No, I'd say my last fight, I had a bit of problem cutting weight, and I came out and said, you know what, I had a bit of an issue, and it was hard. But I did come back from a wedding. I put on a bit of weight from then, so it was a bit harder to cut. But this time it's really been very, very disciplined from the very get-go. So everything's going down slowly, and home life is just, everything's just comfortable as well. Everything just makes sense.
And how long will you spend in the? It was obviously when are you going to leave? You're going to leave soon to go to the US.
Yeah, I'll be Friday the 4th, so 2 weeks before the fight.
Right, and what's the acclimation, like the acclimatization process?
Yeah.
Once you get there, what do you do?
Yeah, well, I recently went for the press conference, and it took me roughly 2 days to adapt. I was gonna go a bit earlier to Vegas, but I decided to take it 2 weeks before. I think that's plenty of time. I actually spoke to Alex Volkanovski. He told me about his experiences. He's been doing it a lot, flying into America. So I sort of went by his word and how he's experienced it, and sort of just guided my own way. Because I used to go 2 months, 3 months before the fight. It's a long time to spend away from home as well.
Totally.
You're living in a house full of men. It's a whole different environment. You're away from home. It's a different feeling. So for me, having that comfort at home, being able to come to Vegas for fight night and for the weight cut and just getting in and out, sort of what my dad used to do, what Volkanovski does, that's what I am doing for this fight.
That's interesting you spoke to Volk. You know, like he would, in UFC sense, MMA, he would go down as definitely as one of the greatest in MMA, and probably, or definitely one of Australia's greatest UFC MMA fighters of all time. And he made a good comeback.
Mm.
He got his belt back. I think, do you ever think to yourself how much Australians love Tim Tszyu and love Alex Volkanovski, and they really are hanging out for you to do exactly the same again? Do you get a sense of that?
Yeah, I get that sense. I think we both embrace the Aussie culture, and for guys to just, have a crack at it. So I think that's what we represent.
But it's, I mean, obviously Jai Apatow is a brilliant cruiserweight, but he doesn't seem to get the same sort of attention as you and Volk. And I don't know why, but nonetheless, that is the position you both are in. On one hand, it's pressure, but on the other hand, it's pretty cool to be held up. You're sort of like a bit of a hero, cult hero.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's a big responsibility, big responsibility. But it gives me a lot of pleasure in life to be able to, have people that you can rely on, and that you're reliant to as well and represent. And it's a great feeling.
Because I interview lots of people, and funnily enough, I very rarely do an interview on a Friday. And when the boys said you could fit us in for a Friday, I was all up for it. Because you're a kid compared to me, and I remember watching your dad, and I even get excited about getting the opportunity to do an interview with you, because you are iconic, and not just you've changed. I mean, my sense that I spoke to you in March is that you'll become more relaxed and more chilled, and you sort of seem to be at peace with yourself.
Yeah.
And maybe, probably more importantly, maybe a lot of us are worried about, how's he going to respond or come back from last year?
Mm-hmm.
And you seem to be so sorted, organized in your own mind. Yeah, I can see it in your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And I often say this about fighters, like I can sort of basically tell how somebody's going to go. It sounds stupid, but just from their eyes, your eyes look really relaxed. You still got that sort of murderous look in your face too, by the way, but it's a scary look. But you do look chilled.
Yeah.
I'm feeling
definitely more comfortable. More comfortable.
In yourself.
Yeah, just being in the position that I'm at. Just I think a lot of gratitude. A lot of gratitude right now, and yeah, just feeling comfortable from it.
Fundora's. And by the way, I'm a bit confused too, because I thought you might be fighting Thurman. I wasn't sure. So because he called you out after Brock, and and you had Joey Spencer. I sort of thought they're both warm-up fights, but we have to respect the other fighter, of course. Great, but they were both warm-up fights, and then Thurman called you out after Brock, and I thought, that's a setup. They've set me up here for sure, and I thought you'd be fighting him later this year, or round about now. How is it that Fundora dropped in? Or was Thurman never really on?
No, Thurman was on. Thurman was on. I think that's where it was going to collide. But I had this feeling after the fight. As soon as the Joey Spencer fight finished, I had this feeling that, you know, I have to go back to that chapter one last time, and I have to take advantage of what I got in front of me and create a new chapter in my story.
And I've spoken to your team in the past, and particularly in March this year, and you're not one to shy away from the tough fights, irrespective of what they say or do. I mean, because people keep talking about, you know, why didn't his team stop the fight, you know, after whatever round it has to be for you to hold your title. I think it's round 4 or something like that. But I've been told by many people that Tim's not that sort of dude.
Yeah.
You're sort of a man on your own. Like, you make your own calls. Yeah. No one's telling you what to do.
No.
So
could be a problem as well.
Well, then you're very confident in yourself. So in preparing to fight someone like Fundora again, he's got like 10-inch reach on you. He's a giant in terms of height. He's a left-hander.
Yeah.
He punches nice and straight. So, you know, your pressure style of fighting might have to change a little bit. Yeah. What do you do to prep for this now? Knowing you've already been through one round. And forget about the head clash for the moment, but you've already been through you've been swapping punches. You know how he fights. Yeah. Do you build a different strategy?
I think with this camp, we've actually had to create a strategy. Last time it was a week's notice that we had. Yeah. So we sort of just went in there. And
you might explain that, Tim, because you were supposed to fight somebody else.
I was supposed to fight Thurman.
Yeah, right.
I was supposed to fight Thurman, and on 2 weeks notice, I get the call that Thurman's out, bicep injury. What do? I just spent 10 weeks in Vegas, big camp, flew everyone in. It was PBC's first Amazon Prime event, so it was a big spectacle. It was in the T-Mobile Arena. It was such a big deal, and I was living my dream, of course. So we had to go find an opponent. First one was Fundora, you know. Ideally,
he was WBO then.
No, he just came off a loss against Mendoza, and I just beat Mendoza. So he got into the position straight away to fight for the world title, unifying world title, so WBC and WBO. And I had 1 week to prepare, basically. And ideally, it wasn't like a tactical preparation. It was, let's just get in there, find some sparring partners, and just practice on some little things that we can work on and stuff like that.
It wasn't well strategized, or you didn't have enough time to do a proper strategy.
Of course. And, you know, like now, when I've had the 10 weeks to prep, it's not about what works, it's about what doesn't work. Yeah. You know, you cop a few and you find out what's not working, and that's where the real progress is at. And I wasn't able to have that, but this time I do, and it's a better feeling.
Does the southpaw style, will that change you much?
There's a little bit technical, a little bit different techniques.
Yeah, but has he got heavy hands?
Who, Sebastian?
Fundora, yeah.
From what I remember, not much.
No.
Yeah, he's got these weird punches. They're like lanky punches. Yeah. But he does have these sneaky shots that can get you. And I remember feeling them.
Yeah, so like, because he doesn't seem to go for the body much because he's probably too tall anyway.
Oh, he does actually.
He hits you in the body.
Yeah, he hits you to the body. That's
interesting.
He's got a few sneaky shots, and it's weird. He's got this style, but he's got these uppercuts.
Yeah, I remember the uppercut.
Yeah, he's got these uppercuts and his body shot, and he basically uses his front hand to find range, and then sometimes uses the backhand to use it inside range.
Because I noticed in the fight against Joey Spencer, in the first round you came out different to Tim Tszyu in the past. Yeah. You were very, I don't want to use the word careful because that's probably underselling it, but you were very purposeful. Mm. You look like, hang on, I'm not rushing this. I'm not going to put pressure on him. I'm just going to see what he's got. That's different to what I've normally seen you fight. Yeah. You normally are pretty confident. You get out there and you take control straight away. Yeah. Will you sort of fill it out a little bit?
Fill out? Hard to fill out because he goes straight away for the punches. He creates the volume. So you sort of have to.
He does have a lot of volume,
Yeah,
doesn't he?
that's his biggest key. He's got volume. He's always throwing punches, and he's always at a distance to land. So you got to come in different ways to approach that. If you're going to be feeling out for 3-4 rounds, you're going to be losing those rounds that you have to win back. So you sort of have to start strong straight away.
So if for someone like him, you got to take his space away, but to take the distance away, which is what he wants. He wants distance. If you take the distance away, that means you got to sort of crowd him a little bit, which means you got to walk into him a bit.
Yeah, you got to cop a few sometimes. Yeah, you got to cop a few to land a few. But at the same time, he's very good on the inside as well. He lands a few of these sneaky shots. So you want to stay at a certain range where you're comfortable and he's not comfortable.
If you had your time again, would you have? Because you could have stopped the fight, or your team could have said to the referee, "Look, we're not going to go any further," and the belts would remain with you, and it wouldn't have looked bad because it was obviously you can't stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
It's easy enough to say, "Listen, ref, we can't stop the bleeding," which they couldn't. And we could see it was blood everywhere. If you had your time again, from a business point of view, being the world title holder, would you have changed the way you handled the cut?
No, just for the fact that I was able to show who I am for the whole world to see.
Character.
Yeah. And that's worth more for me.
That's interesting. So, it's because it's always seemed to me to be important for Tim Tszyu to show the world who he is.
Yeah.
Not just the son of Kosta Tszyu, but I'm Tim Tszyu.
Yeah.
And you often used to say that when you used to win your fights, I'm Tim Tszyu.
Yeah.
But why is it so important, do you think, for a young man like you who grew up with a father like you did to establish his own position in the world? You're not talking about down at Rockdale. You're talking about in the world.
Yeah, I think identity. You want to be able to create your own brand, create your own what you are, who you are, and what you value and what you're on about. Because my dad's a whole different character. He's me and him are complete opposites. So what people think about my dad is completely different to what people should be thinking about me. So that's why I really wanted to create the Tim Tszyu story and not anyone else.
And do you think you've done that at this point?
To a certain extent, I still think there's a lot more to go, a lot more to prove, a lot more to work on. But I think we're on a good road.
Is that one of your big drivers in life? To continue on that road?
I had actually a little think about it. I think what's my biggest role model would probably be my dad, but he's also my biggest competition at the same time. No disrespect, without any disrespect. If I'm able to surpass him, then we've sort of created something for our legacy, for the Tszyu last name to live on forever. So I think that's the driving factor for me.
Do you discuss that with your dad?
No.
It's not something that's, hey, Dad, I want to talk to you about this, or has he ever said, hey, mate, he probably says it in Russian these days, but let's talk about this?
No.
Is your dad old school in that regard in terms of father-son? Yeah, now.
No, my dad's, in all honesty, I don't really talk to him much. We don't really have much interaction.
Day to day, as in?
Just in general. Can't even remember the last time I spoke to him, in all honesty, but he's there, but he's at the same time, he's not always there.
And doing his thing.
Yeah, he's just doing his thing. He's sort of just living real low key. I don't know if it's just the way he wants to do it, but yeah, I just respect it.
I guess maybe from his point of view, living in the limelight forever, and then going back to Russia, like one of Russia's greatest athletes, would probably be even worse in that regard. Does he live in Moscow? Where does he live? Yeah, Moscow. So that's probably pretty full on, and expectations. He probably just wants to chill.
Oh, my dad's gone from here to just completely mellowed down, and he's got 2 little kids now, so he's sort of enjoying the moment of raising them, because he wasn't able to really do it with us. So I think that's his main priority in life now, and he stays away from boxing. He stays away from, from a lot of things. Yeah,
it's funny you should say that, because Kosta, if you're listening to this, I actually understand that process of as a father, in my case, because I was too interested in business and not having time with my own kids. And I didn't really spend that much time with my kids. I've got grandkids now, so I'm a much different grandfather to what I was as a father. In fact, I'm probably a better grandfather than I was a father, and better to my kids as well. But sometimes, you just made me think when you said that about Kosta. It made me think to myself, maybe I should reach out to my own sons, because we as parents don't know the effect we have on our kids.
Yeah.
We don't mean to have a bad effect, but you can have not a bad effect, but you can have an effect.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, that sort of starts to form how they live their lives.
Yeah.
And I guess it's important, because I'm old school, and my generation didn't give kids a hug. You come on, mate, get up, let's go to footy, let's go to school, eat your breakfast, do your homework. I'll see you in a week.
My mom was like that. I think my mom was old school. But my dad, he was a bit more softer.
Was he?
Yeah, growing up, he was a bit softer.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a big softie.
And you? Do you think you'd be the same?
I don't know what I'll be. I think I got more of a bit of a cold. I'm not that soft.
You're not soft?
No.
But you obviously don't have kids at this stage.
Not yet.
No.
Yeah.
But so how's that going in relation to you're married or your partner?
Yes.
Yeah, you're married.
Yes.
And what are you talking about there? What are you thinking? What's the deal?
About kids?
Yeah.
Oh, one day, God willing.
You got things to do.
Yeah.
Right now you got stuff to do.
It's funny. Boxing's just been my sole focus. I've been like married to this game for such a long time. It's just it never really used to be in my mind, even marriage and taking that next step. It's always been just boxing. All right, when's the next fight? All right, when are we on next? What are we doing? It's always been about goals, chasing goals, and that's just how it's been.
How old are you now?
Just turned 30.
Yeah. So, and what's your wife's name?
Alexandra.
What nationality is Alexandra?
She's Macedonian. But Aussie Macedonian.
Aussie Macedonian, okay. So Alexandra, in terms of culturally, she probably wants to have a family. So she ran your same age group? Yeah. So do you feel as though over the next few years there could be another Tszyu running around the joint?
Yeah, I'm sure there would be.
Yeah.
I'm sure there would be.
I mean, it's because you were definitely running around during your dad's period of being a world title holder.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen so many photographs and you on the stage standing there with him. And by the way, you look exactly like him, but clearly you got a bit of your mother in you as well. You're better looking than your old man.
Don't tell him.
I'm telling him he's better looking than your old man. But like it's your future, Australians, because what I'm thinking, this is very romantic. I don't mean romantic in a love sense. I mean romanticizing. But Australians would love to see a Tim Tszyu with Alexandra and his child standing there with a belt. Like,
of course.
That's like, that would make us so happy in Australia.
Yeah.
And it sounds ridiculous. At a national level, we think those things are important. They really are, Tim.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Like they are so important.
Yeah.
I mean, when Volk got his belt back, like Australia was so happy.
Yeah.
Helps that he's a good bloke.
Yeah.
A good person.
Yeah.
A good Australian.
Yeah.
Respects his background, but a good Australian. Works hard, trains hard, accepted his defeat, went back and started all over again and clawed it back. And I think, and when you see him how he's very much a family man. When you see him and you see Tim Tszyu, I think there's a massive connection between the two. And, unfortunately we need heroes in our world. For you, who's your hero?
Yeah, good question.
Or are you the person who's destined to be the hero and you therefore don't have one?
I don't know, actually. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who my hero is. who I look up to, I guess. In all honesty, Volk is a big inspiration.
Do you talk to him much?
Here and there, we sometimes chat through social media and stuff like that.
You on DM him and stuff like that. Yeah.
But
have you met up yet?
Yeah, of course. But yeah, someone in terms of how I'm living, there's not many people in that type of industry, I'd say, that I look up to, except for Volk.
That's interesting. And Volk's life's all about fundamentals, cooking, family, loves going to the farms. Obviously, he loves his gym, his fight gym. He loves his craft.
Mm-hmm.
Do you love your craft?
Boxing?
Yep.
I think I'm obsessed with it. I think it's just always on. It's always on the mind, and from a very young age, it's always been there.
So you're on the card with Pacquiao.
Yeah.
What about someone like him? Is he someone? What is he? 45 or something?
Yeah, 46.
46. Like.
Yeah, he's going for history.
Pretty amazing. I mean, I don't know how many divisions he's gone through, 6 or 7 or 8 or something. I don't know, something like that. And still there.
Yeah,
still fighting for a world
crazy,
title.
Yeah, crazy. Well, you know what? Like, I used to think, oh wow, it's gonna be so crazy. Like, Manny Pacquiao on the card, blah blah blah, all that. Now it's like, it's where you feel most at home. This is where you belong.
Did you meet him at the presser?
Yeah. Fanboy at all. Fanboy a little bit.
Yeah. Did you?
A little bit, yeah. But you know what? I had sparring with him.
Really?
Yeah, I had sparring with him in 2019.
In the Philippines or here?
Philippines, yeah. I was there for 2 weeks in the Philippines. I got invited.
To be a spar partner for him?
Sparring partner, yeah. So, which was pretty cool. That was the first time I met him.
And what period was that again? That's not
2019.
That's only 5-6 years ago. When did he fight?
Yeah, when he fought Thurman.
When he fought Thurman.
Yeah.
That wasn't the Horn period.
No.
Right.
Yeah, it was after.
And what was it like to spar Manny Pacquiao?
It was interesting. It was cool. It was I could see how busy he was there, how he's loved by so many people.
Oh my God.
How many people rely on him. It was insane. There was a job for everything. There was some guy that used to have a towel and used to just get rid of the flies while he was doing sit-ups. I was like, sounds like a pretty good job.
He's a pretty cool guy.
Yeah.
To me, he's one of the outstanding or standouts in the boxing world.
Yeah.
He's always maintained his integrity.
Yeah.
He's given a lot back to people.
Mm-hmm.
In his country, he's adored.
Yeah.
Probably globally, he's adored. And he's actually become a politician, as you know.
Yeah.
And at one stage there, he was thinking about becoming the president of the Philippines.
Well, I think he just ran for it.
He did run for president. Something happened. I can't remember what happened. He didn't quite get there.
Yeah.
But would Tim Tszyu ever think about doing something like that?
No, not politician.
No?
Nah.
Because he's giving back in a big way.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's obviously earned a lot of money, over a long period of time. And he's probably in his country, he'd be extraordinarily wealthy. And therefore, what you say is he looks after people. And that sort of takes it back to what you were talking about before. That's gratitude. And the best way to show gratitude is give back, pay forward.
Yeah.
Whether it's money or time, effort. Do you sometimes ever get the sense that, look, I wouldn't mind going and traveling to a hospital and checking in some kids? And do you do that sort of stuff?
I haven't done it, but it's definitely been in the process of organizing something like that.
It's on the radar, so to speak, because
we've been wanting to do the homeless.
Oh, really?
Feeding the homeless. I think it's a sad scenario here in Australia.
Yeah,
around the world actually, and I think it's a big impact.
I'm not going to say if you. I'm backing you to win the fight, and I actually think that you will wear the guy down, and outsmart him, outstrategize him. And when I've seen your fight smarts, they're pretty good. You can prepare all the strategies, you can have your tactics and all that sort of stuff prepared. But how much different is it once you're in the ring? you can have a strategy and you can have all your tactics and all you train. You might have trained with a 6'5" left-hander for the last whatever period of time is, and all of a sudden you get, hang on, it's not working.
Yeah.
Ring smarts.
Yeah.
Can you talk to me about ring smarts? Like what does Tim Tszyu do when he feels something? I mean, and how hard is it to make adjustments? Taking away from when you're injured, I'm not talking about that. But just where you go and you get a surprise about something and you think, hang on, that's not working anymore, or they're doing something to me I have to defend.
Yeah.
How do you go about that?
I think you have to find your base, what works at all times, if it's using your legs, if it's just a little reset, and in a fight, there's always going to be scenarios that work. There's always going to be scenarios that don't work. But there's also got to be a neutral ground where you're just feeling sweet, just feeling yourself. So
like a baseline.
If it's moving around, if it's throwing quick jabs, if it's throwing speed or whatever it is, you just got to find that base and be able to be switched on the whole time, And it's easy. It's easier said than done, of course, but all we have to do is concentrate for 36 minutes.
Yeah, that sounds easy. Then
it's a long time.
Yeah.
A long time. You can't not concentrate for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Or else you're going to get clipped. So it's just that concentration at all times. And I think during training, you sort of feel when you lose concentration. There's times where you throw a shot, you get a bit tired, you're like, oh shit. You look left, you look right, and boom, you get copped with another shot, and your mind has to be non-stop the whole time in the game.
So I've always saw you as a bit of a surgeon when you fight, because you just tend to break guys down pretty quickly in the first couple of rounds and then you go after them. That process of, did you just explain when you get tired? So when fatigue sets in, maybe you could explain why it's so much harder to make decisions when there's fatigue. I mean, we see it in rugby league all the time. We see really good rugby league players who get fatigued to make wrong decisions in terms of tackling, and the next thing you know, they put their head in the wrong spot, they're out.
Boom.
And your favourite team, the Rabbitohs, you have your back rower, your captain. He does it a lot, and wonderful player, smart as hell, knows technique, but all of a sudden he gets fatigued and something happens because he does a lot of work, And Radley's the same with the Roosters. He does the same thing. He gets fatigued. What do you do when you start to feel fatigue coming on? Do you sort of can you use your ring craft and just stay away a bit?
I think the biggest experience you learn from getting better in and experience in the ring is being able to hide when you rest, being able to hide when you're taking breaths, putting it all on, sort of showing the difference. Like you can't bring a relentless style that's throwing 400, 500 punches each round and doing it over the course of 12 rounds. It's just humanly impossible. As much as you train, it's going to burn you out, So it's just being able to find the rest. I remember Floyd Mayweather used to do it when he was in the clinch. He used to take a couple deep breaths and he used to be fresh straight away, It's just about the recovery. Yeah,
I mean, someone who was sort of probably the closest that I've ever seen who could throw hundreds of punches around. It was Fennec, like probably the fittest fighter ever, though. But also crazy. You know Jeff well. And you have to be sort of crazy to be out. You have to have a sort of a crazy mind to be like that.
Yeah,
and he's like that in everything he does.
Yeah.
If he's sitting here now, he's not throwing punches, but he'd be sort of interacting. I mean, that's how he is. Yeah. But not many people can do that.
Yeah.
And there's a skill that I've watched you do. Like, I mean, I don't know when you're doing, but I know you managed to recover. But they call it ring craft. But like you're able to, you're not necessarily backing off, but you're able to give yourself opportunity to sort of reset.
Yeah. So what's my thing is when I'm in front of someone, a lot of the time they're under the pressure, they're under the pump, and there's nothing coming out of me. Like I'm standing there just making them tremble. And that burns a lot of energy. And
from their point of view.
From their point of view. But from my point of view, there's zero energy being wasted at all. And I think that's probably one of my greatest skills I have in boxing.
And it's probably pretty important as you mature as a fighter is to understand your strengths.
Yeah.
Probably also your weaknesses too. But like it's really important to know what your strengths are.
Yeah.
and to focus on those things. I mean, it is a pretty big strength of yours because I mean, you tend to you can go the distance, and you can look pretty fresh towards the end because and if they're starting to get a little bit tired in the legs,
of course,
that's when you come in hard.
Yeah,
you come in and take over.
Yeah.
So, I mean, often you hear fighters say stupid things like, "Oh, I'll knock him out in the 5th round," or so, that sort of stuff. But you know that you're going to have to go the distance with this bloke.
Yeah.
Because he's quite good.
Yeah, of course.
He's obviously WBC, correct. I mean, but he's no pushover.
No.
But my gut feeling is that I'm feeling as though this is going to go the distance. And I mean, last time went the distance, and it was a split decision, notwithstanding all your injuries. That must actually give you confidence.
Yeah.
You go the distance with him.
Yeah, of course.
And you can cop his punches.
I was saying before, he should have killed me the first time, like with all the disadvantages.
Yeah.
He should have really.
He should have cleaned you up early.
Stamped his mark.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. If you win this fight, and I'm sure you're going to win it, if you win this fight, what's going through your head? You're thinking, well, who do I fight next?
That's the problem. It's always there's the next chapter.
Or should you not think about it now?
I shouldn't be thinking about it.
But you do.
To a certain extent.
Yeah.
To a certain extent.
Probably not right now anyway. Definitely not right now.
No, not now. But like...
You dream about it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. You envision stuff. And the thing with boxing, it's so unpredictable, You don't know what's going to happen or what's around the corner or what opportunities come. It's crazy.
Would you consider someone like Charlo?
Charlo, yeah.
I mean, he'd have to drop it back to the division, or he's one above you, isn't he? Now?
No,
he's still in the same division, is he?
Same division.
So that's one sort of unfinished business.
Yeah. I was in Vegas and we walked past each other.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You say hello?
He was walking to his to his seat, and I didn't notice him, and then I sort of noticed him, and I see him, he's not looking, and I sort of just like got ready. I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but he's got his boys on by myself with my manager, and then he says hi to my manager, and I was like, oh, fair enough. And he looks at me, and I was like, and he goes, congratulations. I go, for what? And he goes, for getting married. And I was like, oh, thanks. He just kept walking. I was like, oh, sweet.
He's obviously following you on social media.
It must have been.
Yeah. So, but because I don't know what's, like your second fight last year in 2024, the name I always, Murtala Liev. Would you consider him again?
Yeah.
He's the IBF champion.
Yeah, I would, but I wouldn't do the rehydration clause.
What? No, tell me through that, the rehydration clause.
Yeah. So the day of the fight, you have to weigh 10 pounds over. That's it. There's a limit.
No more.
No more.
Yep. So, maybe I'll say it. It's he obviously cut the hell out of his weight, but must have rehydrated
I'm not sure.
Pretty hard.
I'm not sure.
Because he looked much bigger.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I've heard plenty of stories, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. So
but he made the weight in the morning.
Yeah.
And I made the weight in the morning as well. So it's two weigh-ins. But usually I'd put on much more. But this time I wasn't able to.
Why do you have any thoughts on that? Scientific thoughts?
It's the IBF, and he caught me with the first punch, and I think that's all it was. I had concussion straight away. Yeah.
Did you get you buzzed?
Everything.
Like your brain, headache? Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's hard after that.
And then I was just standing up like a zombie.
Yeah. So your whole neurological system sort of closes down, your nervous system sort of...
Yeah, calm.
That's what your brain does.
You're not walking straight.
No, nothing works.
Yeah, everything's
and
just...
I was surprised you saw, because I saw the hit and I went, whoa.
Yeah.
It looked like it hurt.
Yeah.
Like, not physically, it didn't hurt
when
it hit you, but like it's inside your brain.
Yeah. That's all it was.
Yeah. And what do you do when you go back and you talk to your corner and everything? What do you say? Like, do they ask you, how you feeling, mate? Like, does the doctor come in? What's the process?
During that round, I don't know what was happening.
You don't remember anything?
No.
Wow.
No.
It's just on instinct.
I was in my head. I was like, if you want to get me out of here, you're gonna have to kill me. I'm gonna keep walking forward.
I remember when I interviewed you many years ago with Volk. There was you, Volk, Brock, and Gambosis. none of you were world champions at that stage. And one of the things this is maybe 6-7 years ago. I remember seeing you fight down the Croatian club. Might have been your first pro fight.
Oh yeah.
Was that your first pro fight? Was it the punch?
No, it was amateurs.
No, the amateurs there.
Yeah.
I remember you were, I don't know, maybe 18 or something. You were a kid.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing it. And I went with Jeff and I can't remember who we were watching. We were watching Bilal Akaway.
Yeah.
And I remember, and I think you must have been on the same. You might have been a pro-am night. You might have been.
Yeah.
And I looked at you and mate, you had that steely look in your eyes. And then when I interviewed you back on my mentor show many years ago, I thought to myself, this kid's a killer. Like you had none of this,
Yeah.
none of that.
Yeah.
You were there for business, serious,
Yeah.
and you had that sort of. I thought, my God, this scary looking dude. Like this kid, you can do anything.
Yeah.
And I did predict you would be the world champion, and you did obviously became the world champion. Was in those days, the younger days, was that more Tim's front, or was that Tim the younger bloke?
Yeah, I was just young, hungry, and determined, and no one else existed besides me and my career
And the trophy.
Yeah, and the accolades. That's all that mattered, and it still does like that to a certain extent.
But
yeah,
it's funny how we grow up, but we actually don't have the same ambition. The same ambition. It's not, you have ambition, but it's not the same ambition, not the same ambition driver. But you become better at it because you become a different type of fighter.
Yeah.
You become like it's no longer a game. Now it's your life. This is my life. This is what I do. This is what I'm good at. Do you ever think to yourself, maybe I should become an architect or an accountant, or because I think your brother's
and Nikita's an architect.
He's an architect.
Yeah. I think that was the biggest problem that we had with my mum. The arguments was that even when I started my career, she's like, "Oh, you always need something to fall back on." But I was like, I don't want to have anything to fall back on. I just want to do this to 100%. And go all in and see where we can go from there, you know? And that's how it's been for me.
Can something like this provide for you and your family, future family, for the rest of your life?
I think so.
Yeah.
Depends how you want to live, of course.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if you want to live in a big flash boat, probably not. But you know, boxers can get paid a lot of money if you get to the elite level, they can get paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
And if you can stay there and keep defending, you can make more than UFC guys ever.
Yeah.
Nikita, he's fighting later this year. Is that right? Is Nikita fighting?
I'm not sure.
Isn't Nikita fighting Zerafa?
I'm not sure. I'll be honest with you.
You know? Does Nikita do work as an architect?
Yes.
Or does he just do the boxing?
No, I'd say he does a lot for himself. He builds a lot.
Builds properties? Everything. Wow.
No, just himself.
Can do it himself?
Yeah, just physically just build stuff.
Yeah?
Just at home. If you tell him to, his goal, I think, is to build a house out of wood that he's going to pick from trees.
Yeah, cut the trees down?
Yeah, he's going to cut the trees down.
That's cool.
Yeah, so he's got different ambitions. But yeah, that's how he's always really been. His mind's very creative.
And the Zerafa fight, there's no announcement of the Zerafa fight at this stage.
Honestly, I hear it in the media, but that's about it.
I saw Zerafa also in March, and I asked him. I said, "What's the blue going on with Tim?" Because Zerafa, he had a fight before around that period too.
Yeah.
And I said, "Mate, why are you doing it?" But nonetheless, he got a call to do it. And he's always going to do it. But he said, "I actually don't have a blue with Tim." How do you feel about him?
I don't have any issues.
Yeah,
I just feel
the media builds it up a bit.
Yeah, the media of course builds it up, but I think that's just like if he was living in a different era, Zerafa wouldn't have many fights, but he's got these sort of lingering around, and his name's always talked about. in the media because of the zoos.
Yeah.
So that's about it.
What do you think about? So Dana White's actually promoting on behalf of
Canelo,
Turkey
yeah.
his first fight coming up, Canelo Crawford. What do you reckon?
About Dana White promoting it?
Well, but all of it, and then also those two.
Yeah, I think it's a massive fight. I think it's a big fight. I think Crawford wins, in my opinion. I think he's going to be a bit too smart. I think Canelo has dropped down a bit in his last maybe 2-3 years. But yeah, it's an interesting story.
Yeah, because Canelo's Crawford hasn't fought for a while though. Like
he doesn't fight often.
No, but he's a beautiful fighter.
Oh, he's unbelievable. One of the greats.
He moves, whereas Canelo's sort of your tough Mexican style.
Yeah.
Hard ass.
But you know what?
And he can punch.
When I saw the Canelo fight week when I was in Vegas last time, it's unreal. The Canelo brand and what he brings to the people.
Like
of
as
Mexico,
in promo, the way it goes.
The fight and the atmosphere, the passion of Mexican supporters.
Oh my God.
It's big, you know, and Mexican boxing is so big, and it's just it's like a religion there. So I understand the passion that he brings.
What do you think about Dana White? So Dana White actually told me when I interviewed him earlier this year with the Premier, he told me that he'd been approached by Turkey to take control of the boxing game, and lo and behold, a month later he announced it. It seems to me that movement, apart from the fact that the fighters get paid a lot of money, big dough, that Dana will actually try to do for that what he's done for the UFC. You know, one of the issues in boxing, and it's never happened in your case, but one of the issues in boxing is a lot of mismatches, as you know, and it's not great for boxing sometimes. You know, I think we saw one this year. I think with Thurman and Brock was just, you know, shouldn't happen. For Brock's sake. Brock's a good kid, you know, and I just wish it never happened. And whereas what Dana said to me is that he's going to make sure it's not like that. It's going to be more like UFC.
Yeah.
You know, you're in form and he's in form.
Yeah,
both,
even playing field.
Correct. Do you think that would be good for boxing?
Yeah, I think.
I know you know.
Yeah, I know. I think it would be good.
Yeah,
yeah. I think it's great for the fans. I think boxing in one organization is a bit hard.
Oh, that'll never happen.
Yeah, I think it's too big to just move it to one.
It's also too political.
Yeah.
And it's different to UFC, but because you want to get on television, get part of pay for you got to go through UFC.
Yeah.
But there's lots of other avenues for boxing.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, just sort of presenting an even sort of even tempered process of all the fighters being fighting against each other and paying fighters a lot of money. For me, a fighter should get paid as much as possible because it could be the last fight.
Yeah.
For any reason, they could lose or they could get injured or whatever the case may be. You know, they provide incredible entertainment around the world. Like the amount of money that gets made on a fight night, and today more so than ever before, putting yourself in the ring for 10 or 12 rounds is like not even 0.001% of the population would even consider it. They wouldn't. And then all the training you got to do and all the sacrifices you got to make. You know, in your case, you know, you've just done this. You didn't go to university. You didn't become a builder. You didn't become a plumber. You're giving yourself, and you don't set yourself up for future unless you win. Yeah, it's all or nothing.
Yeah, of course. Every time.
So it should be maximum amount of money relative to the amount of money they take overall. The fighter should get most of the dough. Yeah, a bit like actors, they should get most of the dough.
Yeah.
I therefore would put to you: do you think that this might actually kickstart bigger results for fighters around the world in all the other platforms? In other words, boxing is, in all the other platforms. In other words, all those people that compete with the Saudis or Turkey environment will have to start to match or try to match the same amount of money that Dana White's going to offer fighters to fight on his cards.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much they'll be offering though. Everything's based on revenue. You know, like if a certain fight generates a certain amount, then the fight is going to make that much more. A lot of fighters, unfortunately, outprice themselves
and don't get a gig.
Yeah, and a lot of fighters think they're worth a certain amount, but they're actually not. At the same time, when a promoter puts a fight on, it has to financially make sense, or else if they're going to be doing losses all the time, it just doesn't make any sense.
They won't last.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I know you're a South fan, but we got a Canelo player fighting a Roosters player, which is Sonny Bill versus Gallen.
Yeah.
But what do you think about that? Are you
Honestly,
close to either one of them?
Yeah, I like Gal.
Yeah,
I like Gal.
He's a pretty tough bastard.
Yeah, he is.
He's got a big engine.
I like it. How he thinks. Honestly, I think it's 5 years too late.
For both of them?
For both.
But we've always wanted to see it.
Yeah. But honestly, I'm not that interested in it.
Is that because you're a person who's at the top of your craft, but also your skill base relative to their skill base is like, it's like different planets.
It's all right. I enjoy watching rugby players punch on with each other. I reckon it's fun. Of course, they're not going to be crazy pro boxers. There is no expectation of that. But they bring certain punches and like they have some fun in there. But I just think the two boys are a bit old. That's all it is. Like when Gal was fighting, I really enjoyed watching Gal's fights. Like him and Justin Hodges. Justin Hodges would knock him down. And then Gal gets up and knocks him out. It was fun, It's what you want to watch. Sometimes watching the purest boxers jab, and move around for 12 rounds, no one cares.
Yeah.
It's not interesting. But sometimes when these guys have a crack, it's fun.
Because you're curious as to how they can handle it.
Yeah. And you see them, the tough boys on the field. And
you want to see
the toughness really comes out in the boxing ring.
Yeah, well, it's funny you should say that. And he's got a massiff engine on him, Gallen.
Yeah.
Like incredible engine on him. And he has had a lot more, I think he's had a lot more pro fights than Sonny, or a lot tougher pro fights. They both fought Mark Hunt. Mark was sort of obviously at the end of his career, but in fact, probably past the end of his career. But Gal got hit by Hunt a few times, and Gallen didn't go down. And Mark Hunt hits hard.
Yeah, I know.
He was 132 kilos that night, and like when he hit Sonny, Sonny went whoa, and that sort of pretty much stopped the fight. So I was talking to Danny Green the other day, and Danny said to me that he thinks Sonny will win because he's just more athletic and fitter.
Yeah,
he's not saying he's a better fighter than Gal. But relatively speaking, he just thinks he just moves better. And Gal's probably had a lot of injuries, hurt himself a lot. But Gal's pretty confident. He's saying, I think it's 8-2s or something like that.
Yeah.
But Gal's saying he's going to just outlast him. He's got a massive engine on him.
Yeah.
And like you said, that's interesting.
Yeah.
There's a conversation. Straight up. Will you go to those fights?
No, I'll be in Vegas.
So when I think their fight's in July too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the Wednesday, and I'm fighting the Sunday.
Right. Okay. Oh, you definitely won't be going. But would you watch it?
But
what do you do when you're away like that? Like you're away.
Yeah.
Does your wife go with you?
No, she comes later on.
She'll come.
She stays elsewhere.
You don't stay together?
No. I stay with my chef.
Yeah.
Me and him, we sort of just rent a place outside of the strip, and we're just gonna hang out there.
Just like in terms of eating and stuff like that.
Eating, just chilling out from the strip.
Is that because it's pretty tough. Vegas sucks the life out of you. It's sort of pretty hectic place.
Hectic.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's like it's in the middle of the desert. It's like
it's dry.
It's dry. Hot now.
Yeah.
Very hot now. But the electricity in the joint, I don't know what it is. It's
the lights.
It's something about it. It can wear you out quite quickly if you're not careful.
100%.
If you don't know how to manage it.
Yeah.
And that's maybe what Volk was saying. Just get there a couple of weeks instead of, like you said, you stayed there for long periods of time.
Yeah. Too long.
Yeah. Well, it's not. It's a great place for an event. It's a great place to go and watch an event. I was at the rugby league this year, and I was there last year. It's great for that.
Yeah.
But it's not a place you want to hang out for a very long time.
No.
So where to from here, Tim? So you've got 3 weeks before the fight, before the night.
So I'll go there 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Before the fight. A couple of days to just relax, acclimatize. Another week of training.
Do you spar when you're there? Will you spar?
Probably do maybe one spar. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
See how I'm feeling.
Is it a hard spar or is it just a...
So I'm finishing all my hard spar here in Australia. Right. That was the whole purpose. Finish it all here and then go there when I'm already nice and prepped.
Yeah, and so you're trying to sort of build back up, so to speak. You know, you're not too I'm not
trying to thrash myself.
Yeah. So
just trying to stay sharp.
Yeah, right. So your fitness should be peaking in a week.
It's pretty good now.
And you want to keep it there.
Yeah,
you want to keep it at that level.
Yeah.
Are you someone who loses their fitness quickly, or
nah.
you can maintain easily?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And will you run?
Yeah.
You'll continue to run?
Yeah, I'll do a bit of running.
Yeah.
I just enjoy running. That's one of my things. I can put my earphones in and just casually, just recovery type thing for me.
Yeah.
Not to kill myself or anything.
You mentioned more scientific. Is
that
weight? In weight, yeah. But is that about knowing, say, for example, getting a DEXA scan, seeing where your weight's carried, and then doing proper calculations, making assumptions? Do you do a metabolic rate?
All of that stuff.
So see how many calories you burn at rest.
Yes.
And then you start to add assumptions on.
Yes.
And then and I'm working on
how many calories to eat in a week, how many calories to eat each daily.
And who does that for you? Chef? Where you got a
chef, and I've got my strength coach is also a dietitian, so he helps us out with all that stuff.
So you go through the whole process.
Yeah.
So when you have your fight and you win, and I've seen you post stuff on Instagram doing this. Yeah. Do you go out and have a big meal or
after?
Yeah, after, of course.
So there's a place in Vegas we always go. I used to go every weekend. It's called Italy. It's got the best paninis in Vegas.
There's bread.
Yeah. So just go there.
Bread and salami or whatever.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah,
roast beef.
Because all of a sudden it's a big reward because you haven't had that for 12 weeks?
Yeah.
Would that be right, 12 weeks?
So I usually go to this one restaurant every weekend. I've been missing out on pizza every weekend. So
in Sydney, you mean?
In Sydney, right now.
So because you like your pizza, huh?
Oh, I love my pizza.
Yeah. But in other words, you don't live this weird, strict life, which most people probably think this guy's like so highly disciplined. You know, he never overeats. Maybe you don't overeat. But do you drink?
No.
You don't drink any alcohol?
No.
Not just when you're preparing, but at any time. You've never had alcohol. It's no thing.
No, it's never been my thing.
You don't care about it.
At my wedding, I did, of course.
Yeah.
But no, not since my boxing career started.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, you live forever. Your organs must be so good. Your organs must be so. Seriously, like that's pretty rare for someone who's 30 years of age.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah.
You know, like not many people would even fighters. Like, I mean, I remember Jeff. He used to drink, like outside of training.
Yeah, my dad used to have a bit of drink. Yeah, just never really enjoyed it.
So you don't have a vodka or something like that?
Nah.
Do you speak Russian good?
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
like fluent.
Fluent.
And that's Mum obviously is.
You know what? We went to live in Moscow in 2008. So I learned how to speak and read, write, interact with everyone there when I lived in Russia.
Wow! So you continue to practice?
Yeah. I just learned and was able to. Like, I always knew how to talk Russian, always knew, but reading and writing and all of that stuff was a bit harder, of course.
Yeah.
So we went to Russian school once a week when we were young, but still,
here
in Australia. But when you move to Moscow and you get taken to a local school, not an international school, but a local school,
you got to speak Russian.
You have to speak Russian. You got to read and write. So I learned how to do it there, and it remains with me now.
Did your brother speak Russian too?
Nikita speaks Russian, yes. I'm not sure if he can read and write.
He would have been much younger.
Yeah, he was much younger, same as my sister.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they can read and write, but they can speak it.
Would you speak Russian to your mum now?
Yeah.
You ring up and say something in Russian?
Yeah.
Is it just for the purpose of sort of intimacy with your mum, or is it more practice?
It's weird. It's just like you're sort of, if you speak another language, it feels a bit weird.
Really?
Yeah. Like if I speak English with my mom, she'd be like, why are you talking to me in English for? You know, or like if she speaks to me in English, I'd be like, what are you talking to me in English for? Like, we've always grown up just talking Russian. That's our mother language to each other.
That's cool.
Yeah,
And to
same
your
as my
brother?
dad. Same as my dad. Whenever we speak, it'll always be Russian.
Well, it sort of makes sense because your dad's living in Russia. But what about your grandfather?
Yeah, that's Russian.
Is it?
Yeah, he's got no English at all.
Oh, really?
You'd think like after 30 years that you'd pick up a little bit, but nah, he chooses. He's a big chooser. Like he chooses a lot of things to not do. you know?
But he gets by. It works.
Yeah, of course. He goes from his house to the gym and back. That's
it.
That's all he needs to go.
It's funny, like
And to the supermarket.
you just reminded me of before my father passed away last year. I used to go every Saturday, and when I used to go there, I used to try my hardest to speak as much Greek to him as possible because I knew he wasn't well. And it's actually a pretty special moment when you can speak to your parents. In his case, it was more a dialect of Greek from where he came from. And it wouldn't do so well in Athens, but does well in his village. But it's when I thought about after he passed away, how important that was to him and to me too. Actually, to be honest with you, and it's one of the things I hold on to, and that's pretty important, mate. Don't ever let that one go.
No, 100%.
Because your mum's still young, but like, not that anybody's sort of going to pass away, but. How old your dad's like close to 70, would he be 65?
No, that's nearly 60.
He's 60 something.
No, he's 60.
No, he's 60. Same age as Jeff.
50s.
No, I think he's a bit older than Jeff Fennick.
1969. He was born.
Okay, so he's not even 60 yet.
No.
So he's a bit younger than Fennick.
Yeah,
Fennick has just turned 60.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah,
But that sort of stuff, mate, is really important to you and to your parents.
Yeah,
and your grandfather.
Future brother and sister back in Russia. The young ones.
Yeah.
They're all only going to talk Russian.
Yeah.
They're not going to talk much
Do you
English.
speak to them much?
No, I don't.
No. But they'll be curious.
Of course, when they grow a bit older.
I want to know who my brother is.
Yeah, of course.
And my two brothers are, and my sister.
Of course. And we hope that we can visit Russia like one day sooner rather than
How old are they?
Good question. One just probably in year 1 and then maybe in year 3.
Yeah, like they're only little though.
Yeah,
they're like 8 or 7, 6, 7,
something
8.
like that.
Wow.
7, 9.
I wonder if they'll watch you fight.
I'm sure they would.
Yeah.
I'm sure my dad's put it on.
Of course he will. And I'm sure he will. You can imagine them in Russia, in Moscow, sitting there saying, there's my brother, that's my brother. They won't really sort of have nightmares about it if you lose, and they won't be elated if you win. I mean, they won't know neither way.
Yeah.
But still, they will be thinking about it.
Yeah.
That's my brother.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
It's cool. I can't imagine being told that as a kid. There's your brother there. You haven't met him yet, but there's your brother there. And he's fighting in MGM Grand in Las Vegas for the world title. He just won. There he is doing that.
Yeah.
That's something to fight for.
Yeah, of course. And I think it's a big, probably a big trip out for my dad to even be able to comprehend the fact that I'm fighting in MGM, like his son is fighting on the stage where he fought his whole career.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So I just want to go back finally to the 20th that's coming up. What are we going to see, mate?
Just a real strategic fight for me, with a bit of blood and guts and war.
You ready to go to war?
I've been through hell and back, you know.
Totally. You know what war's like.
I know what it is. And
you're comfortable with it?
Yeah. I'm not afraid of it. My biggest fear in life was losing. And once you go past it, just shows how insignificant it really is, So right now, everything's just a victory.
And if he wants war, you're going to give him war.
I'm going to bring it.
And if it wants nuclear, you'll give him nuclear.
Of course.
But otherwise, he'll end up having to fight your fight.
Yeah. He doesn't know what he's in for.
I can't wait. It was so good to see you.